Hopefully you can see my screen now.
Hey.
Okay, let me start recording. Stop. Okay, so what I was saying today, we are going to start a new chapter, which is this chapter. Okay, ER modeling, model mapping simply means mapping the conceptual design into a logical design. Okay, or in other words, this is what I mean. Today we are going to go from here we are going to go from C to L. Okay, this is what I'm going to do today. I will take you from C into L. Now, once you have the L, it is very easy to create the tables. It will be very clear for you to create the tables. Okay, for example, this is a C. This is C. This is what we have done last time. Today, I'm going to convert this C into L, and this is L. So I have L is just simply the tables and the column of tables. Employee table, department table, department locations table, project table, works on table, and dependents table. Now in the employee table, I have first name, middle initials, last name, SSN, and so on. And so I'm going to talk about this one, inshallah. I will show you how to convert this into this. Okay, this is what I'm going to do today, inshallah. So is the agenda clear, Shabab, what we are going to do? Is that clear? Hopefully.
Yes.
Very good. So I'm going to take you from C to L today. After I take you from C to L, next time I'm going to take you from L into P. We're not going to do much in P, but we'll try and to show you something in P. At the end, I will implement. Implementation here means, it doesn't mean application program, Shabab. Okay, implementation means create these tables using SQL. So create tables using what? Using SQL. So after you know that you have 4 tables, okay, you'll find that one when you do your logical design, you will know how many tables you will need. Then go and create each table. Send me an employee table and put all the columns of the table and so on. For this one, you have to use SQL. But of course, to create the tables, you need the DBMS. You have to install the DBMS. And then you don't need application for now. You don't have to write the application. Just to go directly after you install the DBMS, you can directly go here and just write SQL على طول. He understands SQL, and the next class will be SQL, inshallah. SQL, and automatically you will create the tables. خلاص, you know how many tables you will create, because from the conceptual and the logical design, you will know how many tables to create, what are the names of the tables, what are the columns of the tables. All that information is in the L design. خلاص, after that one, just write SQL and write it. After you create the tables, then after everything is done, after خلاص we finish with the tables, creation of the tables, then we have to go and write the application program using Java and the SQL طبعا. And you will not be, the user who's going to use your system will not be here anymore. خلاص. Now the application will talk to the program from now onwards, not you. What about you? You will have your computer. Let's call this one user computer. You will be here. It can be a mobile, it can be whatever it is. You will use your computer to use the application. And then the application will respond to you and you will get back يعني. And the application will talk to the DBMS. The DBMS will do whatever you want him to do here, and the information comes back again to you, comes back to the application, and it comes back to the DBMS, and to the application, then to the user. So today I'm not going to talk about this one at all. We have not started this one at all. يعني. Of course, this one is not going to be there. So today I'm just going to show you how to go from here to here so that we can create the tables in the database. This is a database. So this is our agenda today. Today, I'm going to take you from C to L. Is that point clear? Okay. Now, if this is clear, let's start. Any question?
No, clear.
Okay, very good. So let's go to this one now. How do I convert a conceptual design which doesn't look like a table at all into something which looks like a table, which is a logical design, looks like tables. خلاص يعني. In the logical design, you will have all the tables and clear information about the tables. But from here, we don't. So the first thing you do is, first of all, convert each entity into a table. So how many entities do I have here, Shabab?
4.
4 entities: the employee entity, the department entity, the project entity, and the dependent entities, isn't it? So go and create 4 tables, 1 from each entity. And the columns are already here, SSN, and so on and so on. So I will do the following now. I will show you how to create it. So create 4 tables. Let me say this is the employee table. معلش خط حيكون شوية خربان. Okay. And then the second one is going to be the department table. The third one is going to be the project table. وعندنا في النهاية the dependent table. Okay, so this is the employee table. I'll just write it E معلش. This means employee table, imp, just to save time. This is the department table. I'm just going to DEPT. And this is going to be the project table. Let me call it PROJ. Project table. And this is going to be the dependent table. Let me call it DPD. DPNDS. Dependent. Okay, dependent table. Just to save time, and typing this using mouse is not that easy. يعني. After I do this one, what is next? Put the attributes. Go back. Class, we already included all the 4. Now let's put the attributes. Let's start from the employee table. So in the employee table, what are my attributes? I have SSN, which is a key, which is unique. I have birthday, I have name. So don't include name. The composite name is not included. It's included its component, which is first name, middle initials, last name. So add this to the table, 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 and add this to the table. But don't add what address also adds to the table, but don't add this one. Okay, so let's do that. Do you remember Shabab هذا? Okay, let me do it this way. So I will have SSN, or let's say first, let me start with first name. Let me put it FN معلش. First name, middle initials, MI معلش, last name, SSN, date of birth or birth date. Let me just put it DOB عشان أوفر وقت. Address, and salary. Did I forget anything, Shabab? Did I forget anything? Let's check. Sorry. So SSN included, birthday is included, first name, last name is included. Sex. Thank you. Sex was not included. Thank you very much. So let me add sex. Let me just add sex. Now let's go to the department table. شوف الحين. First of all, I did the entities, then the attributes. The relationships, we will do them at the end. Let's go to the department table. Okay. If you look at the department tables, how many columns do I have? I have 1 column. I'm not going to do this because this is multi-value attribute. I'm going to make this one a table, Shabab. And this column, what about this column? I'm not going to do it because it's a derived column. So I can derive it later on by my application. So I will just do 2, name and what? And number. So for now, I'm going to put name and number. I'm just going to put few characters from each word and number. Okay, this is N manish, N, number. Okay, what about the project? If you look at the project table, I have name, number, location. So I'll put 3 of them because all the key attributes and C+ attributes, put them. Don't put driver attribute, don't put multi-value attributes, and put the single attributes here. Don't put the composite attribute here. Okay, but all the others will be put here. So I have name, number, and location. So I have name of the project, sorry, name of the project is here. Name, number, and location. Don't forget, this name is project name, number is project number, and location. Okay, so 3. What about the dependents? I think I have 4 here, and the name of the dependent. I also have sex of the dependent, whether he is a female or male. I also have the relationship, is it? So I have name, sex, birthday, and relationship. Let me put the date of birth, DOB, date of birth, معلش. And the relationship, whether he's a son or a daughter or a wife, or whatever it is. Spouse and wife is the same, معلش. Relationship. Okay, this way I think we did all the attributes except the composite attribute. It's not done. The multi-value attribute will be a table at the end. I will show you, inshallah. And what is the other one? Okay. Now this name is okay. Now let's choose the primary keys. Let's choose the primary keys. Now what's the primary key here? So it has to be one of the unique attributes. I have only how many unique attributes in the employee table, Shabab?
What?
خلاص, that will be my primary key. SSL. So when you underline, this is logical design. This is L, Shabab. This is not C. This is L. When I underline in the logical design, this means primary key. So don't underline يعني, unless it's a primary key here. In the conceptual design, we don't have something called primary key. We have just something called unique or key. What about in the department table? I have 2 unique ones. I have what? I have name is unique and number is unique. Just choose which one do you want. I will use number, okay? I will use number. So this is going to be my primary key. So I will underline this. What about in the project? I will also put the project number. I will add, because I have 2 of them. I have 2 of them. I have the number and the name. So I will choose the number, okay? I will choose a number. What about the dependents table? Do I have a primary key here, Shabab? Do I have a unique attribute? I don't. It's a weak entity, remember?
Yes.
So don't put it for now. We'll put it later on. After you finish all the attributes, but we have left some of the attributes. 2 attributes, 3 attributes, we left them. Multi-value attribute, we left it to make it a table. Composite attribute, we don't do it at all. Derived attribute, we don't also do it at all. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. It's optional. But the other attributes, which is key attribute, you have to put it in the table. Simple attribute, you have to put it in the table. Also partial key attribute, you have to put it in the table. So 3 will be put, 3 will wait. Okay? Any question here before? Yes, sir.
Can we have 2 keys in the project?
No. When I make a primary key, I can make a composite primary key, but it is one primary key, not ما يعتبر 2. It's considered one composite primary key. And I will show you, inshallah, an example. Oh, but I cannot say, for example, name is my primary key and number is my primary key. I cannot have 2 separate primary keys. I can have one primary key, but a composite primary key of name and number at the same time. As they are one column. Did I answer your question, Walala?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, I will make it even clearer for you later on, inshallah. But still, we have not done the relationships yet. What we have done up to now is only 2 things. We have done the entities, we made them tables, and we put their attributes. But we have only put 3 attributes, okay? The simple attribute, the key attribute, and the partial key attribute. The composite, we will not do it. We'll do the components, which we already done. The derived attribute is optional. You can do it or you don't have to do it. And the other attribute, which is multi-value attribute, it will be a table. So we'll have more tables now. Now the next step is do the relationships. Start with one-to-many relationship. How many one-to-many relationship do I have here, Shabab?
You have
one is this one.
2. Oh, 3,
Four.
3.
No, there are 4. I will show you. I have been
There
doing
are
this for
4.
a long time.
Yes,
I've been
yes.
teaching this one for 30 years. فحفظتهم خلاص. Okay, so this is the third one, and this is the last one. So these are all 4 of them are one-to-many relationships. So what do we do now? We will convert them into a column, 2 columns. So I will have 4 extra columns now, but they will be in separate table. I will have a column in the employee table. I will have a column here. I will show you where the column will go. I will column. So this will be converted into a column. So will the column be in the employee table or will the column be in the department table? Because this is linking the department مع مين؟ مع an employee, isn't it? So what you do is normally you should put it into the many side. Put it into the many side. So I'm going to have an extra column here. And I'm going to take the primary key of this one. What's the primary key of department? The numbers, So I'm going to put the department number here. Let me just call it DN, or you can change its name. خلاص الحين معناته ايش؟ I don't need this one anymore because now خلاص this column will contain the department or number of each employee. So the relationship has been converted into a foreign key. So what I mean is simply I will go here and I will add another column here. سميها ايش؟ سميها department number. You don't have to use the same name. You can have different name, but make sure they are linked. يعني. What you say, you should draw from here an arrow into this to show me that this is a foreign key and refers to this primary key here. At this point clear يا شباب ولا لا؟
Yes.
So later on, I know that for each employee, what his department is. I'll write his first name, middle initials, last name, SSN, date of birth, كل حاجة, and his department. But the department, I have to choose one of the departments which are in this table here. So you have a question, sorry?
Yes.
Yes.
I think there is a relation. The 5th one, manages.
The?
Manages.
Yeah. I will do it also. I will come to it. Okay? It is a one-to-one relation. It's a one-to-one relationship, صحيح? الحين أنا بديت من one-to-many. This is one-to-one. Huh? You're talking about this one, صحيح?
Right.
I will come to this one. It's a one-to-one. I will come to this one. I just start with the easy one, one-to-many. Okay? But I will come to this one also. خلاص, we are done with one-to-many الحين. So what we do is we convert the one-to-many relationship in the conceptual design will be converted into a column in the logical design. And the column will be on the table which has the many part. So the column will go for then here. Where do you think the column will go? Will it be, for example, for this relationship, will the column go to the department or to the project, Shabab? Can you answer me? Now this relationship has to be converted to the project. Why?
From the many side.
From the many side, because the many is on the project side, not the one is on the department side. So always put it into the many side. So this relationship is between department and the project, and the many is for the project. One department can be in many In many projects. So what do? We go to the project table. This is a project table, and we add a department. سميها DNO, سميها, it doesn't matter. أهم شيء, you can choose whatever name you want, but link them, because the link will be a foreign key relationship. Now this one goes to where, Shabab? It goes to the department. Again, to the same column. This is DN. This is PNO. DNO, sorry, not PNO. This is DNO. Department.
Doctor?
Yes, sir.
The direction of the arrow indicates that this is one-to-many or what?
Yes, this direction doesn't, here we don't talk about one-to-many. Here we just say this column is the foreign key of this column. It's okay, or it refers to this column. But there is no number here. Don't put any numbers here. You're right. No numbers here. The numbers are already for conceptual design. You're not going to throw the conceptual design. They will always be in the wherever you are working, يعني, they will keep the conceptual design. So in the logical design, you don't have to repeat the same thing again. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. So now let's go to number 3, 1 to n relationship, and then a 4 will say we have done how many up to now? 2. This one and this one. Let's go to number 3 now. Number 3, let me just get rid of this. Okay, number 3. Okay, if you look at number 3 with this one, so the employee table, and this one is making a relationship between the employee table and the dependents table. So what do? We have to add a column now. So where do we add the column, Shabab? In the dependents table or the employee table?
Add it in the dependent.
That's very good. Yeah, because the dependent table has it's a many sides, right? So we will go to the dependent table, and what do we put in the dependent table, Shabab? Which column do we put? Do we put sex, salary? Which one do we put?
SSN.
They're very good. Always we take the primary key, we make him for. Always we take the primary key. The only thing we repeat in the other tables is the primary key. So there is a relationship between dependents. So we want to know who is a dependent employee or who belongs to one of the dependents. So we have to put it here for you. Let me just put it here. So here I'm going to have, what is the dependent? How do you say? So I'm going to have an extra column here. Call it whatever you like. Let me call it ESSN or SSN. It doesn't matter. The book, he changed it to SSN. You can choose whatever name you want. So the name, it doesn't matter. The most important is show the DBMS later on that this is referring to what? Referring to this one. It is very easy to go from conceptual design to the logical design, يعني, okay? I think so. I have been doing this one for 30 years. يمكن بالنسبة لي سهل يعني, but hopefully it is easy for yours. Okay, let me show you now the other one, the last one, which is a little bit tricky, which is this one. This one is 1 to n. So where do you think we should? It's only one table, يعني, from one table to the next table. So where shall we put the column? Into the same table, يعني. So this will be converted in the same table also. So I'm going to add an extra column. Do you get my point, Shabab, here? ولا ليش? This will be converted into what? Into a column, صحيح? Where does the column go? Exactly.
The employee.
The same table, yeah. So it's related, same table. So what we will do is we go here. I'm going to add another column here. نسميها the supervisor SSN. It is supervisor. نسميها supervisor SSN. معلش. Just to save space. And this has to refer to the primary key. Who's the primary key, Shabab?
The SSN.
The SSN. معناته ايش؟ For each employee, I'm going to put his supervisor ID also. But the supervisor ID must also be what? It must be an employee. So he must have an SSN in the employee table. Did you get my point? For example, Hamoud Jam'an, he is my what? He is my supervisor. But he's also an employee, so he's in the same table. So when I'm going to put the Mahmoud Jam'an ID here and my ID here, of course, then I will say Mahmoud Jam'an ID must come from one of these IDs. So it must belong to one of these IDs. If he is not here, Mahmoud Jam'an, معناته he cannot be my employee, my supervisor. Did you get the point, Shabab? I will show you, inshallah, an example table. Yeah. Like, for example, this one here, maybe it's a good idea to show you here. If you look at this one, this is the super SSN. This super SSN refers to what? Refers to قلنا لمن? SSN. So whatever I put here must first be here. If he is not here, you cannot put him here. I can put null, no problem. Okay, but I cannot put any number من عندي من راسي which is not here and put him here. It doesn't work because everything that is written here must refer to a value somewhere here. Is this point clear, ya Shabab?
Yes.
Very good. So let me go again to this one now. Let's finish now all of the relationships. خلاص, we are done with this one. But let me tell you one thing now. You remember dependent didn't have primary key, صحيح? Dependent, there was no primary key, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a weak entity. So what you do for the dependent is you treat it separately. So what we are going to do is we are going to take the ESSN we just added and the name مع بعض, we make them our primary key. So our primary key is a composite key. ESSN مع مين؟ مع النame. معناته ايش? For each employee SSN we should not have duplicate names. This is what it means. So this is going to be our primary key. So underline both of them. So when I underline in the logical design معناته ايش؟ It's if I'm underlining more than one column معناته all of them are one primary key, one composite primary key. Is this point clear يا شباب؟
طيب دكتور
Yes.
ليش why we don't I mean like put an ID or use the name as a unique key?
The problem is name,
because we saw that the department and project, their names are unique. You know?
Exactly.
So why not the name of the dependent?
It is. You can make an ID for him, especially مثلا في الجامعة الحين. What they can do is they can put my name and my daughter or my son name together as one primary key because they are sure that me Salah I'm not going to have the same children with the same name. صحيح؟
Yes.
But what you are saying is ليش dependent ما نعمل لهم ID كمان زيهم وزي طلاب وزي موظفين.
نخليه
we
strong
can
entity يعني.
تخليه stronger. You can do that one. That's some people they do that one. Especially if this one is going to refer by another table. It's going to be referred by another table. Are you with me?
Yeah.
It's going to,
Like school, for example.
Exactly. In that case, yes, maybe it's a good idea to make dependent ID. سميها دي ID ولا حاجة. So it's optional. It's a design option.
It's optional. Okay.
It's optional. It's optional. Very good. Excellent. So in this case, I don't care about this. I will. So I can make them like unique الحين هقول هذول unique مع بعض isn't it? But they are not what? Primary key. Who's going to be the primary key? The ID حيكون البرايمري key. Yes, you can do that. No problem. Is this clear يا شباب? His question was very, very important question. So I can add a column if I wanted to, just to make it a dependent ID. Or if no one is referring to this, refer معناته ايش no one is arrow, no, there is no arrow which comes into this. معي ولا ايه؟ Like this arrow or this arrow. خلاص, there is no need to have an extra column for nothing. Do you understand? Why waste space يعني? We'll just make these two the primary key. Even you don't have to mention, just make sure they are unique يعني. So that we don't have to make ايش? To make sure that when we enter a new value, we just check whether this name we entered before ولا ايش for the same employee. عشان ما نعمل duplicate يعني. Is this point clear يا شباب? Okay, so this looks a lot of mess معلش.
دكتور.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There could be two employees that have the same name.
No problem. For example, in fact, I have this example for you. شوف هنا.
Both of them.
Yes, for example, look here. The ID, we put here the ID, we don't put the employee name. We put the employee ID. شوف هنا زي ما عملنا هنا. This is a dependent table. So what did we do? أخذنا الemployee ID and the dependent name مع بعض, we made them a primary key. This is underline وهذا underline معناتها these two together they are مع بعض primary key. معناتها they will not be repeated again. So you will never find 33445555 unless repeated again in any of these columns. Okay? But what about dependent? Can a dependent have a duplicate? Yes. Alice هنا عندك وAlice هنا. But this Alice belongs to a different employee and this Alice belongs to another employee. Did I answer your question ولا لا?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very, very good. Okay. So coming back again into the design, we are not done yet. باقي لنا حاجتين. باقي لنا هذا many to many. خلاص we don't sorry, we have also this one, sorry, multi-value attribute. Do you see this يا شباب?
Yes.
This will be قلنا ايش؟ a table صحيح؟ So it will contain a table, but it will have two columns. One column is called location نفسه, and the second column is going to be the primary key حق the department because it belongs to the department صحيح? So what we have to do is the following. So we are going to create another table which will have how many columns? Two columns. One is going to be the department number. Let me call it DNO عشان نوفر وقت معلش. And this one has to refer to the what? It must be one of these numbers. And this is a location. This is a location of the department. So for example, department number 1 has 3 locations. We'll have 1, 1, 1 located in building 22, building 23, building 24. So we will not put all the 3 buildings in 21, 22, 23. No need to do that one. Who the primary key here, both of them are primary key مع بعض, composite primary key. Because the same department can be repeated many times. For example, let's take the ICS department. Assume ICS department is department number 1. So department number 1 can be in 22, number 1 can be in 23, number 1 can be in 24. What about other departments? Let's say department COE. Let's assume it is number 2. Number 2 can be also in 22, can be in 23, can be in 24. So the locations can be duplicated. The DNO can be duplicated, but if you put them together, you will never have duplication. Does that make sense to you, Shabab? Any question? Okay. Now we have this one. I forgot to talk about it, but it is important to talk about it. Do you see this one, Shabab? It's one-to-one, isn't it?
Yes.
But al-Ghariba, what about this one? Do you see something unique about this?
No.
هذا يختلف من كل من الباقيين. الاتريبيوت هذا. It's a simple attribute. بس في اختلاف من الاتريبيوت ثانية.
Because it's in a relationship, right?
Fantastic. Now this attribute is for a relation, not for an entity. For example, all the attributes are for entities. صحيح? This is for this entity. But if you look, this one is for a relationship. صحيح?
Yes.
Now I will talk about this one. So you can consider this is like number 7. يعني. I showed you 6 of them. You can consider this one like number 7. صحيح? If you want to, but it's a simple attribute. Now, what do I do with one-to-one relationship? Shall I make it a table or shall I make it a column? You will make it a column. But where shall I send it? Shall I send it to this one or shall I send it to this one? It depends on this one. If there is a double line like this, and yesterday we said what is double line? This is mandatory. It's not optional. صحيح? Now, for those of you who forgot what is this double line and single line, let me just make a quick. For example, let's take this one. This is a double line. This is a double line. You see this double line here? What it means is, this is a single line. So this relationship contains single line this way and double line this way. What it means is, every dependent must belong to an employee. But what does this mean? It means not all employee has dependent. This is what it means. So this is optional for the employee to have a relationship with a dependent, but every dependent must have a relationship to an employee. So when we put double, معناتها you are mandatory. معناتها you must have a relationship with the other entity. But when I put single, it means no, you are not every employee is forced to have a dependent. So double line معناتها must, and single line معناتها it's optional. So not all the employee has dependent, but every dependent must have an employee. Is this point clear ولا مش clear يا شباب?
Clear.
It's very good. So if it's clear, let's go back to the one-to-one الحين هذه. So that can be clear. So I'm talking about this one now here. مع relation مع attribute حقتها هذه. Now this is one-to-one. If you have one-to-one, this will be converted into a column. So one-to-one is converted into a column. Also one-to-n is converted into a column. So we have done already 4 1-to-n اللي هو هذا وشفت الأربعة الحين. This is 1-to-1. So I'm going to put an extra column here. What do you think the name of the column should be? It should be the primary key of what? Of the employee, which is what يا شباب? SSN صحيح? What about the start date? What shall I do? It will go with the relationship. If the relationship is converted to a column here, this also has to be with it. So we will have 2 extra columns here. And then this is خلاص gone after that. We don't need it anymore. So what I'm saying is simply, if you go here to draw it, so this is the department. I'm going to add 2 more columns. معلش, let me put them here عشان نوفر وقت. So this is the manager of the department. I'm going to call it manager SSN. Manager SSN. Why SSN? Because he has a relationship مع SSN هنا. It has to come because the employee and the department, they are related one-to-one. يعني. What about this one? This is his start date. When does the manager start working? If you look at this, يا شباب, this is start date of the manager. صحيح? So put manager start date. Manager start date. So we will add, sorry, I have to put it here. معلش خطوها هنا معلش. خطوها هنا. Just to save. There's not enough slot هنا. Is this clear يا شباب ولا ايه؟ So to show you what it will look like after it's populated. This is the department table. عندنا department name which is unique. Department number is the primary key. The manager's SSN. So this has to come one of these values. So we have 3 departments, we have 3 managers. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. Is he here? Yes, he is this one. What about this guy here? He is this guy. What about this one here? He is this guy. So all these 3, every one of them must come from here. If he is not here, he cannot be here. So this column refers to this one. What about this one? This one is when did he become a manager? Starting this date. So for the research department, which is department number 5, this guy is the manager, and this is when he became a manager to the department. At this point, clear يا شباب ولا مش clear?
Yes, clear.
Very good, excellent. So this is what you do. So if you have a relationship, if there is a relationship, it has an attribute, it will go with the relationship. الحين we finished all of we only have 1 to 1 يعني ما عندناش غير هذه. But let me take you now to the last one, which is many to many. Do you see many to many relationship? اللي هي هذه. This is the last one. Oh, by the way, there is another attribute هنا ما شفتها هذه معلش. This attribute is like this attribute also belongs to the relationship. Now, a relationship, if it is many to many, it will be a table. فهمت يا شباب؟ And the relationship which is many to many like this becomes a table. Now the table will look like this one. It's a new table. We will create a new table. It will have 3 columns. 1 column which is the SSN, 1 column which is a project ID or project number, what is the primary key of this. So the primary key of this and the primary key of this. So I will have SSN يمكن هنا معلش, which is the primary key which will refer to this طبعا. I will have also project number. I think the project number is the primary key بتاعت البروجكت, which will refer to the project number اللي هنا بعدين هوريكم إن شاء الله. And I have an attribute for itself. It has attribute hours. Hours also will be with it. It's attribute حقتها. So if you look at the end, this table فإنها هتكون table. It will look something like this one. Let me show you. This one, we call it workers on table. It contains SSN, which must come from one of these columns, and the project number, which must come from what? From the primary key the project number, and the hours are here. So this employee, he worked in project number 1 for this amount of hours. This employee, which is the same employee تقريبا, he also worked for project number 2 for this amount of hours, and so on and so on يعني. So, طبعا before you go here, okay, after we are done with this one, خلاص we are done with ايش? We are done with the logical design. خلاص في النهاية this is what we will have. Look at this one. This is a logical design. But underline here means what يا شباب? Primary key. Underline here means what? Unique.
Oh.
لا, this is conceptual design. Underline here means unique. معي ولا ايه؟
Okay.
So لو لاحظت هنا عندنا name و numbers, isn't it? But when we came to logical design, whom do we underline? We didn't underline name. لأنه عملنا underline هنا معناتها you'll get an error in the exam. Because this is not the primary key. Only in the logical design, I only want the primary keys. فقط underline it. I don't want anyone else. Okay, so why do we have to underline here? Because both of them are one primary key, a composite. What about this one? The same thing. So composite primary key. Another composite primary key. Oh, sorry. Up to this point here. Anyhow, do you have any question how I got this one from this one? How to go from here to here?
Sir,
yes, sir.
Works on.
Yes.
Why do you put P number instead of P name?
It works on there is P number because do you want what? Do you instead put P name or here you mean? Well,
can you put P name or is it?
Oh no. I prefer to put the primary key.
Oh.
Because okay, always put the primary key as a foreign key in other tables. Okay. Yes, very good question. Yes. This question is very, very important. Always put the primary key in another table. But do I have to use the same name? No, you don't have to. I can call this one whatever I want. So instead of P number, I'm using PNO. Can I do that? Yes. The only thing we need from here is just make a reference. Now, طبعا, this is done on paper. The DBMS doesn't know about it. I get my point, Shabab. You are going to draw this one using draw.io or PowerPoint. You will draw this one. But the DBMS doesn't know about it at all. When do you think the DBMS will know about this one?
When making the application.
When? No. Even before you do the application. When you write create table statement. خلاص. Once you do this, Shabab, خلاص, it's on paper. المعلومات هذه موجودة في البيبر. So what do you do next? I need to put them for disk, isn't it? I need to create them in a disk. So to create them in a disk, first of all, you have to install what?
DBMS.
DBMS. Install DBMS. And then you have to learn how to write SQL statements. So you write directly to the DBMS SQL statement. And then he will create the database for you. First of all, create the database and then create each and every table هناك. And when you are creating the table, show him which one is a primary key and show him which one is a foreign key, which one is a unique key, which one is not nullable, everything tell him. خلاص, after that one, he will remember everything. This is what you will do. You have to use what? SQL. This is SQL. Can you give me a minute? I will come back. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm back. Do you have any question, Shabab? Okay, don't worry. We have lab next week and we are going to do all of this in the lab, inshallah. So if you have any questions, okay, you can ask me again in the lab. Okay?
يا أستاذ سؤال
Yes.
عندنا نحن مياجر ولا شيء قريبة؟
مياجر عندك ميد ترم في السيلابس موجود يوم حيكون ويك 10 او ويك 9 مكتوب في السيلابس عندك كل حاجة.
خلاص أوكي جزاك الله خير.
بارك الله فيكم. Okay, so I have to go shower معلش because some people came to fix my house. I have a problem in my house. So we have only a few minutes left. Inshallah أعودكم لها inshallah during other time. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you,
problem,
sir.
Dr.
See you Sunday.
Thank you, Doctor. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.